Good evening. Several weeks ago, thousands of emails were released in what was called the Epstein files. One of those emails was a correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Colonel Sanders, in which Jeffrey Epstein threatened Colonel Sanders to release the recipe for the 12 secret herbs and spices if Colonel Sanders ever disclosed what finger-licking good events happened on his island to anyone else. Here to respond to the outcry of questions from the public is Colonel Sanders himself.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm just here to fry up the truth and serve it hot. I've got nothing to hide other than maybe my, 12 herbs and spices.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you're here to tell the truth. So what's the truth about your relationship with Epstein?
I bumped into the fellow once or twice, but he's dead. So I don't like to dwell on the past. I like to live in the present.
Well, he may be dead, but I'm curious how you two met.
Well, I believe we met backstage at a Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Why were you there?
Well, Epstein was intelligence, CIA, potentially Mossad. And let's just say I was the preferred caterer of the CIA at the time.
Preferred caterer? So were you a CIA asset?
Darn tootin'. I love this country more than biscuits and gravy, son.
So what exactly did you do for the CIA?
Well, let's just say I cooked up some extra crispy chicken for some foreign diplomats who may have had a heart attack or two, and the world was better off for it in the end.
That's fascinating. So then, after you met Epstein, did you become close friends?
Close friends, no. Distant acquaintances, maybe.
Distant acquaintances? There's reports that you stayed at his house.
Reports say a lot of things.
Reports also say you rode on his plane.
I've ridden on a lot of planes.
You visited his island.
I visited a lot of islands. I was in Ireland just last week, but I don't hear you asking me about that.
Reports also say you gave him a birthday card.
It was his birthday.
It was his birthday, so you gave him a birthday card. But your relationship was distant?
Very.
Okay. Let's change topics here. Where were you on October 11th, 2004?
Let's see. I took my grandchildren to a Pizza Hut buffet in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Considering there were reports that you were on Epstein's island that night, how are you so sure you were at a Pizza Hut buffet?
Well, I remember because I never eat pizza. And to be honest, I'm lactose intolerant. And that night, my butthole experienced something darker than I ever did in Vietnam.
Okay, but multiple witnesses say they remember seeing you on the island that night.
Well, they're wrong. And I got the butthole to prove it. Do you want to see?
Well, they said they saw you hanging out with chicks all night.
I never hung out with any chicks.
They said you did unspeakable things with those chicks.
Lies!
Well, here's a photo of you with those chicks.
That photo is about as fake as the chicken from Zaxby's.
Colonel, did you do anything finger-looking good with Jeffrey Epstein?
You want answers?
The world's entitled to answers.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth because it's extra crispy. Son, we live in a world where people are starving, and those people have to be fed by people with herbs and spices. Who's going to feed them? You? I have a greater responsibility than you could possibly fathom. Everybody wants to eat fried chicken, but no one wants to kill the chicken they eat. No one wants the blood on their hands. And after you get blood on your hands, what's a little bit more? After killing millions of chickens, why not take out a few bad eggs for the CIA? And then you get a new taste. A taste for a spice called power. And once you've tasted power, though you never will, you get a new hunger. Then you look around for other people with similar hunger and you say, how do we keep the power we have? How do we get more of it? You show them the blood on your hands and they show you theirs, so that if either of you expose others, there's mutually assured destruction. The fact of the matter is, anyone who has power and wasn't mentioned on those files is either a loser who shouldn't have power or doesn't really have power. We live in a society where people have been insulated from the natural order of the world for so long, they've forgotten what this world really is. Deep down, we're all beasts, greedy, gobbling whatever we can to survive. But you pampered types get uppity, demanding purity from your providers. I ain't got the patience to justify myself to the guy scarfing down my thighs. I would rather you just munch and mutter thanks and mosey along. Otherwise, I would suggest you choke your own chicken. Either way, I don't give a damn what you or anyone else feels entitled to.
Did you do anything finger-licking good on Epstein's Island?
You bet your bucket I did.